and he's already read Demon Slayer set. Me and him were talking about it. It was funny.
A Demon Slayer set?
Yeah, the mangas.
Oh, okay. So you're looking at somebody like reselling them or like a box set of them online somewhere?
No. A friend of a friend, but not, it's not. Oh, I don't know. Maybe, possibly a friend. We'll
Somebody we know is a big Demon Slayer fan, and they've already read the set of mangas for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Is what she's saying.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good on both sides.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank everybody for joining today. This is the Bearthoughts podcast. We usually do this every Friday at 5 Central Standard Time. So if you haven't been here before, that's when you catch us. Be in the chat, give us your comments and your thoughts, and maybe give us some questions if you're feeling like it. Thank you for joining me today. As always, we have the Corvo Ninja and the somewhat disembodied Stealthy Jade. There she is. She will probably jump in at some point. But today we are back. Sorry, everybody. We have been missing. I had a bit of an asthma attack a couple weeks ago. Corvo's been corvetting, and it's been a long 2 weeks. So
yeah, it's been a very long.
We'll go over all of that and more. But stay tuned, and thank you for joining today. All right, so let's just jump right into it. You have been a very busy man for the past 2 weeks, and
I have.
Because of that, you've been selfish and you've been totally thinking about yourself and going through a bit of a midlife crisis. As your coworkers call it.
Yeah.
And you've been doing something you've always wanted to do. And again, I am a person that says every hobby is a hobby, and that's all it is. Whether you're collecting Corvettes in your case, or me collecting anime figurines, it's all the same wheelhouse. We all have things that we all would like to have someday, and you finally get to reach out to have one of your dreams. Now, I want to talk about firsthand the ordeal you went to just to get finding one vehicle that you could actually go and purchase. And for some reason, all the vehicles that you were looking at, as far as I'm aware, you might tell me wrong, they all were like far away. None of them were like local. None of them. That one.
No. So here's something. Here's a fun fact about where I live. Most of the people that own Corvettes around where I live are like me. They will never relinquish them. It's not happening. It will fall apart in the backyard first, because around where I live, to own one of those cars isn't something that's normal. Where, because of the income status and the stuff around where I'm at, it's kind of like one of those things you reach for, and you might get it, and if you do, you don't let it go again.
Okay, so like, hey, the likelihood when those vehicles showing up in town and someone going, "Hey, I don't want it no more," is
slim to none.
And you're a country boy through and through, right? Yeah. So you love vehicles, and only kind of people that have that kind of vehicles that want to get rid of them are those who are like, hey, it might not be like, but tomorrow that my time has come. Let me sell my vehicle so someone else may love this thing as much as I do.
There's that, and then there's the other side of that is also location and price range. So the few people that are close to me that might have wanted to sell their cars, the cars were in much better shape for the most part. And when I say that, mostly better shape cosmetically, because the car I got, engine and transmission wise, is in fantastic shape.
Okay.
But because of the cosmetics being in so much better shape, they were way outside my price range, the few that were local. So that forced me to have to look further away. Honestly, market is best for me in, like, say, Florida. And when I say Florida, I mean like Orlando, or maybe a little south of Orlando would be the closest. And then there's a few in Alabama.
Yeah. So
And believe me, there was a point where I was getting desperate enough that I was fixing to send you money and tell you to go get the damn thing. I'd come to your house and get it, you know?
So, Florida to me, because most of everybody's own a vehicle. Florida is a risk because it is so close to salt water all around. It almost doesn't matter what part of the Florida you live at. Somehow the air breeze of salt water will get to your vehicle miles in on to inshore, and it will start doing havoc on anything of your vehicle that is mostly not protected, right? Like a paint job is usually okay, but
Paint's usually all right. What you really have to watch is basically frame.
mhm.
Your metal frame, because salt will do a lot of damage to metal components like that. And your frame is probably what's, I would say, that is one of the most exposed parts of your car, because underneath that car is pretty much open.
Mhm.
So anything like that can be an issue. I got lucky when I bought this car. I looked at the frame, I looked at motor, I looked at transmission. All of that shit was in still good shape. Okay, not rusted out, not falling apart, no rods knocking, transmission's not slipping. Matter of fact, 2 months before I bought it, he just had the transmission rebuilt because he didn't originally want to sell the car.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Everybody here knows I am not a big car buff. I've done some work in my days on my vehicle. I had a '91 Honda Accord, and I got a paint job on that thing. I changed the spark plugs and the spark wires. I did oil change. I changed out. I did quite a few things in this vehicle because it was my first ever vehicle, but I never done framework. And I've seen people take like this laser gun and like shining over rusted spots and all the rust come off of it. Could you do something like that and then like maybe paint over it or do some kind of like
Okay,
protection
so in
coats?
reality, that's not a laser gun. What you're seeing is a laser is the target. So like the sight of it.
Okay, yeah.
What they're really doing is sandblasting the frame.
Okay.
So the sand is being blown out of the nozzle at such a high rate of speed that it is taking anything off all the way down to the bare metal.
Mm.
Okay. Yes, you can sandblast a frame. They do it all the damn time. People will take motor, transmission, and sit the cab of the vehicle off of it. They will take the frame to a shop. They will sandblast that shit and paint it with like some Under Armour coat of paint or something that's supposed to be extra durable or tough to help protect it. Yes, you can do that. It does it cost? It does, because that is not really something you can do at home unless you have, like, say, a really high pole barn and a good hoist system to take the cab off,
Mm.
and a engine and transmission mount jack or a stand to take and hold the motor while you're doing it.
Well, I know this is something I just seen before. I just watched you okay, what's this there's a British guy in Britain. He does a lot of like wild wacky inventions. I forget the name of him. He's pretty big on YouTube, and he had this one vehicle that he made even a hot tub inside of his vehicle. He's that kind of crazy guy. He does crazy
Yeah.
things, and he gave his vehicle to someone else, and they put the vehicle on what looked like one of those meat rotors, right? Where you turn the rotor and the vehicle and the meat turns to look like that, but for cars. They took the
Yes.
engine out, and they tacked the metal frame onto some bars and just rolled the vehicle over and just did that kind of stuff with it. I'm thinking that's some ingenuity right there, but like I don't see you wouldn't be able to turn without the engine out of it because it'd be way too heavy. But it's like the redneck way of being able to turn the vehicle over without actually having to get it up on forklifts, put it really high, get underneath it, and spray out where they just roll over and just go yeah, we're good.
Yeah, so what they did is they probably dropped the motor and transmission and I would hope the rear end out of it if it's rear wheel drive, because those are the three heaviest components of the car.
Mm-mm. Okay, don't worry. I'm saying, I'm gonna give my mom one moment because she has a question
And
for me.
then what they do is underneath the car there's a metal frame. And so if there's not a place that you can bolt the carriage arms at the front and the back that you can roll it on.
Mm-hmm.
Then they will tack weld to the frame the carriage bar.
Mm-hmm.
And then that allows them to rotate it like a rotisserie. And they can rotate it up on one side and spray it, and rotate it on the other side and do the undercoat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually a really efficient way to paint a vehicle. However, it is costly
Mm-hmm.
because that equipment that they're using is not cheap, and they have to maintain it, and they have to have people that know how to do what we're talking about.
Yes, Selfie?
I'm looking at the Twitch version of it. You have it underneath World of Warcraft right now. Just giving you a heads up.
Okay, I'll fix that. Thank you. All right. Okay. So yes, we'll get into that a little later on, Mom. But yes, I am writing a novel. But then hopefully, if the novel goes well, I want to turn it into a manga, and just to see how people will enjoy it. We'll get into a little more details a little later on. But okay. So how many Corvettes did you try to get before you finally landed on the one you got?
Okay. So I looked at several. Only 2 of them prior to this one did I get to the point where I could go there. We were negotiating. I was ready to go look at them and make a decision. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like round 4. You looked at, you talked to 2, and then the third one finally came through. Right? Am I remember the timeline here?
We looked at a lot of them online. I only talked to about 4 of them.
No.
Or 5 of them.
What are those numbers?
Like
Clearly stealthy.
12 of them.
Okay.
Get up on all sides, bitch.
That's right.
Don't even try me.
That's right. I talked to a lot of them.
Do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have it?
Yeah. I talked to a lot of them. Only 2 of them prior to this one, though, actually got to the point where I could go see them and would be willing to purchase them. Okay.
Which is 2 others, but they never. One never got back to you. The other one decided to be a douchebag canoe.
Right. So the 2 that I was going to go look at, they got sold the day before I was told to come look at them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that, I don't know about y'all, but if you've ever had something you've wanted since you were a kid and then somebody sells it the day before you're supposed to go look at it, that shit can it can really hurt your motivation.
Yeah, the one I specifically remember, because this one was, even to me, I've had this happen before. The gentleman said you can come up and see. You can't come up and see it today because he's gonna be at work or something like that.
Right.
You can't come over right now. You can't like, even though you have the money right now. Some guy just showed up to his house that very day and just gave him money and walked off with the vehicle, even though he told you couldn't do it.
Right.
At all that day.
The deal was he was supposed to work that day, and he did go to work.
Mm-hmm.
The other guy had told him he couldn't come that Sunday, and he told him, he's like, okay, but that's the only day I'm going to be home. So he messaged me and told me, he said, hey, that guy is not going to be able to show up. So if you can show up Sunday, you're good. Well, he goes to work and he gets a call from his neighbors saying this dude is sitting in his front yard with a trailer behind his vehicle, I guess, in case he liked the vehicle, wanting to know where he's at. So he goes home from work because there's this random person at his house. You know, he can't just not go see what the fuck's going on.
They want to walk around with his vehicle.
And the guy ends up talking him into selling the car right there. So then he leaves with the car. Well, then he messages me, says, I'm sorry, da 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 da. I'm like, well, you know, you could have told him to go fuck off. I mean, you literally gave both of us the ultimatum that I cannot do this on Saturday. I can only do it on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But yet you still did it. Okay, so yeah, that was a little disheartening. But then that was the Saturday before the Sunday that I bought the one I have.
Yeah.
I woke up Sunday, and Stealthy's like you.
We just got off the stream that very day, and I just said, Like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And I'm going, yeah, but if some tell me if you get a call from another vehicle, you're going to be gone. And that next day, go on.
Yep, and I told her, I said, he called it. So I got up. She says, you might want to check your messenger because you've been getting hit while you were sleeping. So I got up and I checked my messenger, and this guy's like, yeah, I've got it. It runs good. It drives good. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, listen, you're only like 6 hours away. I can come to your house tonight. And he's like, come on.
Bet.
So we got in the fucking car and we hauled ass.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy legitimately, I get down there, I look at it, we crank it up, and he's like, if you want to drive it, I'll hop in, we can drive it. We drove it for like 20 minutes. And while we're driving around, he said, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. I had 2 guys locally, right here in town, that wanted to buy this car. But I told them no, because I had you coming from Georgia, and I wasn't having you drive all the damn way down from Georgia, not even getting to see the car.
I bet to be honest with you, like, there's few times I would have beat a mother because of something like that, or beat a guy. But if you maybe drive that long and you tell me I can't get the thing that I come here to get, there might be a restraining order put on me. Not gonna lie, there's few times I would want to beat somebody. Few times,
But,
that would have been one of them.
Yeah, we drove it around for like 20 minutes. It drove great. Pulled back in. After driving it 20 minutes, I did my normal thing. I checked, transmission fluid, make sure transmission wasn't leaking. Checked oil, make sure the oil wasn't leaking. Went through all the steps of, hey, is it mechanically sound? It was mechanically sound. I gave the man $3,000. We signed a title. I jumped back in the car to leave. Now, I don't know if anybody knows what this shit is, but this is what you call a thermostat.
Okay? Rusty right as can be.
Okay. This shit right here, it don't matter if your car is a day old or 40 years old. This thing will stop whenever the hell it wants to. The reason I'm saying that is so people understand why I didn't get pissed off with the guy I bought the car from. Okay. There's no way to know that this shit's going to stop until it stops.
Because that's a common denominator with that kind of vehicle, right? That kind of part just...
Any fucking vehicle that has a thermostat. The Fusion that's sitting in the front yard, the one that's going to be a gift, I'm replacing the thermostat in it next weekend. Okay? It doesn't matter. So anyway, the reason I'm saying that is 10 minutes into the drive home, car runs hot. So I'll pull over, let it cool off, because I don't want to damage the motor and transmission that's running phenomenally, right?
Yeah.
Crank it back up, start driving, it runs hot again, and we pull over again, and I tell Stealthy, I was like, I think the thermostat's sticking. I don't want to go no further driving it, because I don't want to harm what I just bought. Well, we're not in a great location at this point. So we run to Wally World because she's thinking, hey, maybe I just pull it home with the Jeep, right?
Yeah.
So we run to Wally World. We're thinking we can get home a decent hour. We might have to go a little slower. We'll pull it home. Run to Wally World. We get a couple of tow hooks and a 6,000-pound tow line. Hook this damn thing up. We start pulling. We're going down the highway, and I tell us, hey, we need to pull in. We need to adjust this. I'm a little too close to the back of the Jeep for my taste. If you have to stop fast and I have to hit the brake fast, there might be a chance I'm going to run all up under you. So we stop and we readjust it and put some length on it. Pull back out, start pulling again. Damned if the damn tow line didn't break.
6,000 pounds? And it broke.
Supposed to be 6,000 pounds. Now, wait, here's the thing. It must have been a weak spot in that specific spot, because here's why I say that. It breaks. She pulls over in the Jeep, jumps out, runs back like Superwoman. I throw it in neutral. She pushes us into the turn lane behind her by herself. Okay?
Fuck.
So we get over there. She's like, I'm not leaving your baby sitting in the middle of this fucking road. Not after all the work we did to get it. So she throws herself on the ground underneath here, grabs the two ends that broke, and does a fucking fisherman knot from hell to put these two back together.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to know that damn knot is still holding. It towed another car, okay? 3 miles.
Mm-hmm.
She pulls me over to a gas station. I look at it. I'm like, listen, if the thermostat stuck, we're not driving the shit home, and obviously this tow line ain't gonna pull it home.
She went to grab it.
So we said, screw it.
She's proud of her knot.
We'll drive back home and we'll come back and get it the following weekend, right?
Uh-huh.
There's her damn knot from hell right there.
Wow, that is a
and that damn thing
unique.
that thing will tow a 1.5 ton vehicle with no issues. That knot.
Unique knot.
I can attest to that. So
lost 10 yards because of that.
We start down the road.
Okay, that knot. You don't understand.
That was once a 40-yard knot. Now 40-yard long rope. Now it's like 10 yards. All because that one knot.
Actually, did not take that much, believe it or not.
He only took about 2 feet out of the length.
I know. I'm just giving her a hard time.
Anyway.
No, you have to understand. I was proud of myself for this goddamn knot because
Lord forgive.
you have to realize we're still in traffic. We can get hit.
Mm.
I dove under that vehicle, yanked it out, and tied this knot in seconds.
So
I'm proud of myself. Okay?
we go to start home after we decide we're going to leave it and come back and get it, and it dawns on us, hey, we might better go back and tell the service station attendant what's going on. So we turn around and go back. I go in and talk to him. He's like, yeah, it's fine. You pushed it up right where there's a camera aimed at that particular parking spot. And he showed me, he said, it's fine. It's under camera. I told him, I said, I probably won't be able to get back down here till Friday or Saturday now. And he's like, it should be fine, but leave your name and your number. And that case, in case the manager, the owner of the store wants to call you.
Mm-hmm.
So we leave it and we scoot ass home. A couple days later, the manager calls me. I tell him what's going on. And he's like, you know what? You got until Saturday. You're good. It's fine where it's at until Saturday.
Oh, don't skip out the part about your Jeep. Your Jeep little fun fiasco that he had me on the call with you.
I'm getting there. So on the ride home, 5.5 hours into a 6-hour ride, Jeep's running fine.
One direction.
And suddenly, a half hour to 45 minutes from the house, Jeep starts running like shit.
Because Corvo had the idea.
At this point, this joker here is on call with us. And he's hearing
about the accidents too.
He's hearing ding, ding, ding. He's like, what the hell is that? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I can't tell in the dark. I have no freaking idea. What we did realize was that as long as we ran about 40, 45, it ran smooth. It only started acting up when you sped up.
Mm-hmm.
So we drive the last 40, 45 minutes and Grumpy can attest to this shit, dinging all the way through the
going 45 on an interstate, and every now and then it wasn't just like, okay, Chad, let me just give you a rundown here. So it was quiet for like maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and it'll go ding. I'm going, okay, ding, okay, 2 dings, and it'll be quiet again, and then it'll just keep on driving, and they're like, yeah, still going 45. I'm like, ding. Being middle of my talks, you know, I'm a little bit rambler, and I'm just hearing this over and again. I'm going, and they're like, just shut up, just unplug the dinger at this point. It's getting annoying because it's just we're trying to have a conversation and not you know, make sure these people are staying awake because they're past their curfew, and I'm, you know,
past our curfew while you bullshit.
So I'm being a bro and trying to keep them awake, but at the same time, like, they keep pulling over, like, yeah, we're going to check out a few things, and they get back in the vehicle. I'm like, at some point, I'm going, just go 70, see what happens. Fuck it. And all because Corvo decided to not get gas.
Yep.
All this happened because the vehicle...
That caused the next issue. So we finally get it home.
And do the fucking accidents.
I'll talk about the accidents in a minute that we seen on the way. But anyway, we finally get home. And I tell her, you know what? You're going to drive the Fusion. I'm going to drive the Jeep to work a couple days because I'm going to try to figure out in the little 3 or 4 block commute what the hell's going on, right?
Lucky.
So the second day I pull in, my coworker that owns the other Corvette, we're talking. He's like, "You got a scan port on that thing for a scan tool?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Is it an ODB2 port?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I drove the damn Mustang today. I got my scanner in the damn car." So we walk out to the parking lot. He slaps it in. He does the scan. He says, "You got a misfire on cylinder 3." Well, I'm sitting there. I'm going, "Well, it ain't fuel because I can smell the fuel."
Yeah.
So the injector spraying fuel. I'm like, it must not have spark. You know, it must not have anything to ignite it. So I tell Stealthy, go by and pick me up a spark plug when you get off, in case the spark plug went bad. So she gets a spark plug. I swap the spark plug out. Still doing the same shit. But I did notice when I swapped the spark plug out, the damn spark plug wire was broken.
Mm.
So the next day, I run up and get spark plug wires. Come back home, put spark plug wires, still acting up. I'm like, well, shit. There ain't but one thing it can be left. And I'm at this point, I'm sitting there looking at the plug when it's cranked, and it ain't sparking.
Mm-hmm.
So there ain't no power. So it's got to be the damn coil pack. So I go and get a coil pack, put a coil pack on it. Thank you to my son for this next part. Before I put the plug back in, I want to see an arc.
Yeah.
So I'm holding the thing, and I tell him hit it. He cranks it. I see it arc. I'm like, okay, we're good. So he cuts it off. Well, now I'm not holding it where the rubber is because I know it's good and he's got the car cut off. I'm about to take the spark plug out of the spark plug wire so I can thread it in. The moment my hand hit that thing, he thought I said, crank it again. So he hits the key, and I am now the ground. And that damn thing lit me up. I'm like, oh, stop, turn it off. He cuts it off. He said, what's wrong? I said, I can confirm for sure it is now firing. He says, are you all right? I'm like, when I get feeling back in my arm, I'll let you know.
Okay, real quick.
So I put,
go get your turtle. I like turtles, but why are you talking about turtles, dude? A little weird. Anyways, somebody talking about turtles and Lost in the Forest. Okay, so you got to crank it again. You got to plug it in. You lost a little sensation in your arm. That's common knowledge right there. Electricity will hurt if you.
right. So we get the Jeep running. Jeep's running good now.
Good.
I mean, obviously because we drove it down there to get the damn car.
Mm-hmm.
So she wants me to tell you about 2 accidents. So if we had left when we planned to leave and the thermostat hadn't stuck in that car, right about where we would have been on the interstate, there was a really bad accident.
A pileup of cars, right?
The accident was so bad that 3 lanes of a 4-lane was closed off for them to do the cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. Now, if we had left at the time that we were going to pull the car home, there was another accident right about where we'd have been at. Now, that accident was the one that I described to you.
Mm-hmm. The 18-wheeler.
Where somebody decided to, I don't know what happened. I don't know how it happened. The car did not stop in time. It was a Tesla and it went under the back of an 18-wheeler trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And as we passed it, it was a ball of flames. Okay, when I say this, I mean, look at your cars. If you guys own cars like sedans, little cars or whatever, look at the compartment where people sit, front seat and back seat. Now imagine that entire area, one giant ball of fire.
See, I was just thinking about this later on. Since you said it was a Tesla, I wonder if it was one of those people. Because I will say this: they're still working on technology. It's not perfected yet, but some people have in their mind with Teslas the self driving function of the Tesla, and some people always thinking they can just because there's been videos on it time and time again. People of like just driving along, hand off the wheels, doing something else, playing a game on their phone, whatever, right? But Tesla always says if you have self driving mode on, still keep your hands on the steering wheel and your feet on the pedal or on the brake, just in case something happens and the automatic driving does not kick in. Noticing a vehicle in front of you has now stopped or is halting, and you run into them. And that is a problem where people still hear self-driving vehicle. That is not a self-driving vehicle, like at all. Like I wouldn't say, hey, let's take a 12-hour trip from where I live to Texas or whatever, and I'll be safe. No, doesn't work that way.
Well, my point is that both of those could have been really bad had either A, the Corvette not broke down, or B, we'd have been able to leave when we initially thought we were. Okay?
Yeah.
So we got lucky from the aspect that the car, I guess, did break down because we weren't at that point at those times. Okay. Now, as you well know, this past weekend, after getting the Jeep fixed, we drove back down there 6 hours directly after work in the Jeep. We changed the thermostat and the thermostat gasket in the parking lot at 11 o'clock at night of this gas station with no lights. Then we proceeded to drive that same car over to a Walmart that was about 3 miles away, parked, spent the night in a Jeep, put the coolant in it, tested it out in the parking lot. It worked out, and we drove it home. Now, what we hadn't told a whole lot of people is after we got the car to the Walmart, there was another guy that was already at the gas station when we got there to work on the Corvette who had an accident in his BMW. He hit some kind of animal or something on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't see what it was real clearly. He wasn't real sure what it was, but he hit something. Whatever it was broke both of his bottom radiator lines, bent his radiator in his transmission cooler, and broke a fuel line underneath it.
Ooh, boy, that's gonna be costly.
So he is not a real big car guy. I mean, he knows the basics.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have any clue with this extensive amount of damage what the hell to do. He went ahead and filed his insurance claim while he was there on his phone. But obviously he can't leave it sitting in that station parking lot because they're closed and there's nobody for him to talk to without running a risk of it getting towed the next day. And his insurance can't send somebody to pick it up until the next day. So in the course of us fixing the Corvette and talking to him, we decided to be good Samaritans, and after we got the Corvette to the Walmart, we went back, hooked him up to the Jeep. I piloted the broke car. Stealthy drove the Jeep pulling that car, and his family member's vehicle that was there that come over, he drove it behind us, and we pulled him all the way to the Walmart so he wouldn't get towed, so that they could get his car the next day. So, time frame for you guys is I woke up at 5:45 Friday morning. I went to sleep in the back of a Jeep in a Walmart parking lot at 5 a.m. the following morning.
Gobby or Gobwill? I don't see anything you're typing, my dude. Okay, so you did a little nice Samaritan. You finally got after doing that, you got the vehicle home. It is, I described this vehicle. Of course, Stealthy says she's the first one. She said this. When you first saw the vehicle, our first thoughts was immediately, This thing looks like a NES, a Nintendo Entertainment System, the old school classic paint job of a gray and an off white. It was so on point. Almost, it felt like this vehicle was almost made for a man of your generation that loves Nintendo as much as you do, and we all are now thinking of ways of trying to make it look like a Super Nintendo because it'd just be so cool.
It's gonna look like a Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah, it would look so cool if it was.
He's about to hand it to me. Hand me mine.
Needs to be clean.
This needs to be clean, but here it is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking at this, thinking about the front of the car, I'm gonna put the black stripe off to this side,
With
like
a
it
little
is
roof on
right
the
here,
top.
and right here, this little grid system. I'm gonna have them do that on the hood.
Okay.
Okay, and then Stealthy is going to try to match the red paint that's here
Mm-hmm.
because she found
A kit or a little.
some letters called NES that we're going to put on this car. It's over there. It's in that bag right there. So she's going to try to color match and paint. Hang on.
Can't even see any of your Mets. Okay.
There's the N.
Mm-hmm.
E.
Yeah, you're gonna have to paint all these little chrome or a flat matte maybe.
Then S. And I have 2 sets of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that we can put those on there. And then Grumpy come up with the idea that right there on the front of the Corvette where it says Corvette, maybe having it painted the color of the start button and put start in red on it.
Because I think that'd just be so fun. It looks like a button. It looks like a button. So I'm like,
and and so we're now in the process of figuring out cosmetically, design wise, how to make this look like the fastest Nintendo Entertainment Center on wheels you've ever seen.
yeah, that'd be so cool. It'd be so funny. I'm looking forward to it. You're gonna keep me posted, so we're trying to keep y'all posted when he decides to do some work on it, and at some point I may get you some pictures. Are you posting any of this stuff on your Instagram or not Instagram, your Twitter page, just in case anybody wants to go and see it?
I have not posted anything yet, but I plan to post pictures at least on the YouTube and Twitter before and do some afters as they're done. And then of course we're gonna go over it when it's completely done on podcast live.
See, this is why I need to be near you, so I could be almost your film crew. So when you're working on stuff, and we could do like one of those like almost episodic, rebuilding of your vehicle, and I can just be the recording, and you just talk me through it, and then you start working, and I can then cut it up. That's why I need to be.
That has been my past 2 weeks at weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And as Grumpy said, some people are calling this my midlife crisis. My wife, however, does not like that idea because as far as she's concerned, it is something I've dreamed about since I was a young man.
Mm-hmm.
Something I've always wanted. A midlife crisis doesn't fall into that criteria. It's a random splurge of random shit that you just decide you want one day because, well, hell, you're getting old or whatever the hell you call it.
Mm-hmm.
So it has deeply disturbed her. But yes, as Grumpy says, I've been selfish the past 2 weeks. I've been on a Corvette hunting spree.
Mm-hmm.
I have one headlight that is stuck up currently, but here are the parts to fix that. That will happen this weekend.
He gets a sprawl of things going. This is my workspace from right now. Soon will be all my new toys, like somebody getting a brand new PC and putting new parts in it. He's slowly getting all in front of you, getting ready to work on one bit by bit. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you can see it. I hope you can see it in person someday, and you can show me the real reason why you got something like this, a muscle vehicle. It's a muscle vehicle, right? I'm not, well, muscle vehicles normally
It's considered a sports car.
Okay. But you know, I never really had the appeal of it. Cars look nice. I can't deny that, but I never been like a person that really got down to grease and things. That's the problem with a lot of people nowadays. I'll say this real quick. A lot of people are too, you know, fixated on learning skills that are, you know, used for businesses or stuff like that. But not many people have skills nowadays that have tangible life altering changes in vehicles and framing of houses and stuff like that. I just feel like these are essential stuff that you need to know. And I never took interest in vehicles. Never.
Remember, you're going to stay tuned because at one point, before I really, really get into this car, we're going to do a stream or a video and then post it of putting up the pop-up garage.
Yeah, I totally forget about that. Yeah, yeah.
Well, we're gonna put some stuff down that allows us to not be in the dirt, and then put up a 10 by 10 or either 10 by 14 pop-up garage that can be zipped up and closed up so the elements don't get to it while I'm working on it.
Gotcha. We'll do it. I can't see any of your emotes, man. I'm sorry. I definitely see you. I don't see anything you're popping up. So, okay. So let's just jump into last night since my mom asked this stuff. And you helped me with this project before, and it is still ongoing. But last night we took the first big step, I would say, into doing it. Last night we started working on the narrator version of my book or my manga. That I want to be a manga because, well, in order to be manga, it has to be drawn out. But I don't know how to draw that well. I draw decent, but not like manga level decent. And at the same time, you need to have a story first. Now, we went over to the narrated part. Now, you and Stealthy, Polly have helped me out. And I was about to say Pestilence, but it's not Pestilence. Petty have all helped me out with making these characters come to life. Y'all seem to really enjoy it, and I would love to do more of it. It's just one of those things I had to come up with the storyline, come up with the scenario, and then have y'all help me play it out.
Yep.
And if anybody wants to watch it, it was done last night. We put on like ×2, might help a little bit, but then promise I had the other parts where Corvo and Stealthy and all them were joining me on ×2 almost as well, so it will make it like ×4, so you might not even be able to understand what's going on at that point. So I would say go watch the other one, then go watch the new one. I don't know how you would deal about it, but we started writing it down, and you read a fair bit of books yourself, novels, yes. Right? Actual books, yes. And yes. It's always from the perspective of a narrator describing what's going on, but usually sometimes it's, you know, the characters are talking themselves. Yes. And describing what's going on and what they're seeing. It's really hard that I'm finding out that it's really hard to give someone that imagery of what is surrounding them, that imagery of their location in the world, right? It's and what they're thinking, trying to give more details that normally you and me has been are separate beings, trying to get the insight of a separate being and what they're thinking and how they feel about things. It's really hard to come and get that across without just a lot of narrative.
I will tell you what one of my favorite authors has told me, because you know that I communicate with him via email sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him that same question because I mean he's like in the 30s of his books.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's written like a shitload on these particular characters, and I asked him, I was like, you know, I can see where this is difficult because at one point I was working on a book too. And you know what he told me? He said, honestly, you know, it is really difficult if you're thinking about it.
Okay.
He said, if you stop thinking about it and just start, I guess, saying it, the visual will come to you just like if you were reading it. And it makes it easier for you to set the scene. He said, the more you think about it, the more you try to focus on what do I need to say to make this scene come to life, the harder it's going to be for you to come up with it, because you're going to overthink things. You're going to want to be do I need to give more detail to this structure or less detail? Or you're going to think really hard on that. And he said, and honestly, what'll sell it is more the emotions and the mood that the characters are feeling from the surroundings than high detail of the surroundings.
Okay.
So I'm not saying if you have a character going into a cave that you don't say, you know, this was a dwarven cave that they mined this in. He said that's enough detail for someone to get kind of a rough visualization. But he said then when you start talking about the emotions the people are feeling in this area, how they're interacting with the environment, he said that is what gives life and detail to it. That is what's going to make people's imagination say, okay, so this was the basis and this is how they're interacting with it. So then their memory, their imagination starts filling in the gaps.
Okay, gotcha. That's a good pointer. But yeah, we were working on that last night. I want to get more work on it done, and my wife has pretty much. I don't really. Okay, if anybody's ever done text to speech, I don't trust the technology because I've used it so many times, and I know what I'm saying, and I just trust it to know what I'm saying too when I'm speaking into it. But my wife had me do this, like those little narrator program that she like you speak into it. She was using it for college, so when the teacher's talking, she could have it recording and it would write down the things the teacher's saying, so she can go back and read it later on, just in case she forgot something what she said or you know, refresh her memory on it. She would have me use that a little bit to narrate some of the stuff, and I was using because I had technically one more character I needed to get done. And every single time I asked somebody, because I wanted somebody with a certain personality to match a character, right? I want somebody, not just a voice, I want the person's personality to come through the character. And I had two people in mind. And those two people both skipped out on me. Is getting on. Okay. But yeah, two people skipped out on me and kept on trying not to, like, getting to do it. Like, hey, could you know, like I said before, I don't like asking people more than like twice, and then I'll leave you alone. And if you don't like come back and say anything or to give me a heads up, I'll just like go, hey, I'm bugging them, I'm bothering them, I'll move on. And yesterday, I'm like, I was at my breaking point. I'm like, I just gotta do it myself. So I was using this program called Voice Mod, where I could change the sound of my voice. Now, I'm gonna give y'all a little sample as soon as I can, but this program didn't open very well yesterday. And I was doing the voice to try to get the idea. I knew what the characters sound like in my head, but it's one thing to say I know what they sound like in my head. It's another thing to say that I know how they would sound to everybody. Okay, whoa, that's really long. Yeah, forget them. Okay, so, Seth, you see that?
Okay, that's spam. I got it.
Okay.
I'll take care of it.
So,
I'm not a mod in that freaking channel.
Gotcha. Corvo might not be able to hear this, but the channel might be able to hear this. So if y'all hearing me, let's see. Can I hear myself right now? Hello, hello. Okay, I must not have the well. I'm not hearing it at all. I don't happen to it. Well, anyways, it's a voice changing program. It allows me to change my voice. I don't know why I can't hear right now, and normally I could just hear just fine. Maybe because it's on the wrong headset. Where is it at? Where is it at? Hello? There it is. Okay. There we go. So, some of you, I know Corvo can hear it, but
nope.
And as I said, I don't know how to make it go through my mic and do that. Anybody here on Discord? But on OBS, they can hear me. So that's what I use.
Yeah, I can hear it on hers.
Okay. So, yeah, that's the little voice thing I was using yesterday. And it was kind of fun doing it, but it's so weird to be, like, talking to yourself as a second person. It doesn't feel natural. That's why I wanted another person with me that could give the personality. And the person I needed to be acting like is a person that has, like, a lawyer. Like, a business sense lawyer kind of man. Like this, he's more focused on a business mind.
I think you mean you need more of somebody with a really deep voice, because that's what the voice modulator.
Well, I just use the deep voice because I don't have a deep voice, and I sound like sometimes a pubescent child. Sometimes my way I hear myself, I still sound like I'm young. I hate my voice. I really do. I think most people hate their voices anyways. So I needed. Yeah, I just need somebody with a personality, and I was trying to come off as a hard ass, but I don't think I did it at all, right? So as a reader, you might hear it as a hard ass, but in real life, when I did it, I sound like a pushover dad. It's like try to be nice and cool.
Sure, darling, you can have that cow you wanted.
Of course, I also did. There's also a woman version of it, but apparently, if you don't talk straight into the mic, it kind of goes special, and it couldn't understand me at all. It was terrible. God, it sounded all right when you talk straight to the mic, but just maybe you turn your head a little bit. It's like, hey, It's like, I swear, and I did something yesterday. If I was a big channel, I would have been totally canceled for. I would have been canceled for it almost immediately. There's no way I got away with it too, because I did the full whole arm thing. And made some sound that probably wasn't very appropriate.
All right. Now, I've only got one of these questions for you.
Okay.
This is based on the little thing I sent you earlier.
Yes. If y'all like this, if you like this kind of section or this part, y'all let us know. Give us ideas and your opinions. And yes, stop biting me. Go ahead.
This is strictly a versus thing. Okay. I'm taking 2 video game characters and I'm going to say this one versus this one. And you tell me who you think's going to win and who you think's going to lose.
Belmont.
And I want to know your reasons for it. Okay? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Mega Man, Samus.
I had no you would do Mega Man and Samus. I had a feeling you would think about Mega Man since I did that the other day. Okay. Let me ask you 2 questions. Is Mega Man in his original Mega Man form, his original Mega Man days, or is it Mega Man X? Is it Mega Man Legacy? Is it Mega Man like the new whatever weird one that's nowadays I never watch or whatever? Which Mega Man are we talking about here?
We're going original Mega Man and original Samus.
Okay, so first generation Mega Man, first generation of Samus. Okay.
Yes.
Second question, because I said it was 2. Does he have access to all his call them Battle Masters?
All his mods?
Yeah, but like they're called Battle Masters or Robot Masters or something like that. I think they're called Robot Masters.
But for simplicity, we'll say yes. He has all his access to his mods, and so does she.
Okay. She has all to her access too. Okay. See, I want to say Samus, but I don't know. That's just because, Mega Man, I like his abilities, but some of his abilities were useless. And a lot of times, hitting somebody was a little challenging. Like, yeah, no, you could do if you do the video game version, like almost like Smash Brothers. I think Samus had the more mobility. I think she had the extra tools actually for combat. Where sometimes Mega Man's abilities, like, hey, this attack was only good if I fought this one Battle Master or this Robot Master. All the rest of the abilities were trash at that Battle Master, but this one would do really good. I don't think any of them specifically would be like, this would make Mega Man stronger than Samus because it would be her weakness. I don't really see anything if original Battle Master's abilities being Samus' weakness. I would say Samus.
Okay.
And of course, she go into a ball, dodging stuff.
Okay. I would personally agree with that, but chat, if you guys have a different opinion or you have reasons why your opinion would be different, post it. Let us know. Maybe you're thinking something we're not thinking, but the reason this question come up was 2 things. I was playing a game with Stealthy the other day when we were eating, and I was throwing out some video game characters, and those 2 come up, and then I threw up another one that was Dante from Devil May Cry and Bayonetta from Bayonetta, and there was a lot when you look at it. When you put them versus each other, certain characters versus each other, it becomes very hard. Because some of them, their attributes are very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to get really nitpicky to find who you. So I was just curious, and then when I was talking to her about it, I was like, I think a good one for Grumpy would be a Mega Man Samus, because when you look at it, some of their abilities are pretty close to the same.
Yeah.
And then some of them are skewed differently from the others. I mean, so when you look at Mega Man, you have Mega Man. He's an android.
Yes.
Okay, you look at Samus. She's a genetically enhanced life form in a suit.
Yeah.
So I think you're kind of tit for tat on that basis. You look at their basic weapon. Both of them are using a, for lack of a better term, arm cannon.
Projectile
Okay,
cannon, yes.
a projectile cannon that is pretty much either is their arm or attached to their arm in some way, form, or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
You look at how they mod out. For the most part, they both mod that weapon. Whether it be scissors for cutting anything on Mega Man, or whether it be a beam cannon on Samus, those weapons mod.
Yeah, and those games were pretty much like almost so similar to each other. I wouldn't be surprised if one did not inspire the other, because one's a side scroller and a up and down scroller, or whatever you would call it. But they had such a similar feel to them.
Right.
That
I thought for a match that would be a very good match to have to think about.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about, what are we talking about here?
We got combat experience, we got weaponry, and we got what was it? Combat experience, weaponry, and there's a third one, but I don't know what it is right at the very moment. I would say like years of experience, but I think combat experience and years of experience would be the same thing. Or maybe what they fought against. But then, of course, some people go into deep, like, oh, what about the mangas, or what about the comic books, or what about the TV shows, and like those always have like these. Because they always want the main character of any show to win, right? That's the point of the TV show. You're supposed to win,
right?
And if you whether it be Mega Man or Mega Man TV show, or during the books for Samus, main character always won. So whatever challenge came about, they found a way to overcome it and beat it. But then those powers can get can just grow. Okay. Yeah, they can just keep on growing. They'll ever be changing. So realizing what character has this ability that's almost put them in this position of winning could be a huge, just, hey, flat out, I don't care how much time or how many times you hit me, or how many times, or how many battle experience, this one move could just wipe all of it out.
It's very similar to like the Goku Superman type situation. You have to really think about the shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, one that was hard for me was Gabriel Belmont and Dante. Well, it was hard until my wife weighed in and pointed out something that I didn't think about. Dante is the child of a demon and an angel.
Yes.
Gabriel literally beat the shit out of the king of hell and stuffed him back in his hole.
Yes.
So, demon angel versus man that smites the head of hell. I didn't really think about it on those terms, but that, when you stuff the devil back in the hole, that kind of gives you a little bit of clout.
Yeah. There's just some characters in this generation ever say the no. So it's sometimes in some comic books or some games or TV shows, it doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it's fantasy. Some characters just on such a high level of scale of power, or such a high level, even like in like instant healability or recoverability, they're almost immortal. It doesn't really matter what you do to them, how much you battle experience, speed, power. If they can instantly regenerate like that, there's nothing you really gonna do. It's just at that point a battle of will. Yeah, battle of will. Who's gonna be able to last the longest? Who has the most stamina? Who's one's just gonna say, all right, I give up, I'm done. And that to me is not very much a fun experience, because anytime I hear, oh, this person's a god, I go, they win. Why? Because they're a god. They are literally immortal. Unless you find a way to like kill their immortal powers, they can't be killed. That's what I think, right? That's what.
Say that with, for example, God of War.
Right. So her example would be if you were to say Kratos was one of the people in the battle.
Mm,
He started a Spartan.
yes.
He became the god of war.
Yes.
And he wasn't the god of war anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so with him, it's a up and down thing. It like depends on where you fall. Like which point in his life are you fighting him?
I can't hear what you said.
Themselves are not immortal. They are
Right.
actually
Well, what she was pointing out is even in that realm, they were the gods were only immortal from the standpoint that they didn't die of natural causes.
Gotcha.
But if you had the right weapon made out of the right thing, or you had the right elixir made from the right shit, you could still kill them.
Yeah. Usually the rules. Usual rules are God can kill gods, God made weapons can kill gods, and God made killing like more immortal killing power potions like for Hercules, where they try to take away his take away his God's strength. Right. So it's always about trying to kill it. But Ragnarok is a well, if you would have gone for Mythos.
They're using the abilities of the Valkyries to kill gods.
Yes, which are demigods, which are the closest things humans can get to gods. I think that's what they call it. But I think God of War was the only like exception to that rule. Then again, it's a game, so well, it's an actual game.
If you go back into Greek mythology, in and of itself, they themselves, and even Norse mythology, some of those gods died. You can't. All of them have a basis where gods can die.
But it's a pain in the ass to kill them.
Yeah,
the point to this whole little thing is this is just something I was thinking, and if anybody ever wants to throw in hey, this video game character versus this video game character and want our feedback, or this anime character versus this anime character and want our feedback, feel free if you enjoyed it. If you don't, that's fine. It's just something I wanted to test and see how you guys felt about it, and I really wanted to see Grumpy's reaction to that particular matchup.
Yeah, you thought I would probably say Mega Man, didn't you? Because I am a fan of Mega Man.
I thought you were gonna find a way to pull Mega Man out to the top.
No, original Mega Man, there was just so many even the first or second one. The original Mega Man had so many just trash abilities that were slow. They did damage. They were like only one directional. Even in the Smash Brother games where they had Mega Man in it, some of his abilities were still trash. And it's just like Mega Man X, in my opinion, was better in almost every single way. Mega Man X I love that game, but even then, there's still ways to outdone it because when Mega Man X came out, Metroid had better abilities. So it's like, oh, look, he got an upgrade. So did she. Congratulations, you played yourself. I love Mega Man, I really do. And Samus is still such a good character. I saw a video the other day when it comes to people saying about video game characters. I would go this over real quick. We're technically over time. Have you seen that new game that's coming out with this Asian girl? That everybody's saying she's really attractive and it's unrealistic body types, whatever.
Yes.
Even though it's been modeled off an actual girl and it was actually
an actual Asian lady. Yes, I know. She can't help the fact that she's a little more endowed than some of the others. I get it. What they're wanting to say is that if you look at the percentage of Asian women versus this model, it's not realistic because most Asian women don't fit that body type. But the fact of the matter is they modeled this character off of an Asian woman that did have that body type.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that it's not realistic. It might not. And she helped design it. It's just more along the lines that it's not realistic. It's not feasible from a standpoint of expecting every Asian woman to look that way. No, it's not.
No.
But it is very realistic because she is very much built that way.
Yeah, and she is very well. She's healthy. I'll say that. She's very healthy. So, you gotta. There's sometimes you gotta do sacrifices if you want certain bodies, and it's not. It's not that it's unreasonable. Just some people just don't like it. That people are gonna look at it and say, "Ooh, that's attractive," and I'm gonna be full front. Everybody knows me. I'm gonna be honest here. If I watch a TV show, if I go watch a movie, if I play a video game, if I read a book, I personally, want to see somebody that either I can aspire to be, or somebody I look upon and wish I could be, or look upon and going, they are attractive. I naturally like to see attractive people. I wish I was attractive, and I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, because they're attractive, they can't be in this thing. They're not me. There never will be me, and I will never be them. But I like seeing it. They like if I watch Goku, Dragon Ball Z, I watch a strong, buff man that's kicking a lot of ass. Bruce Lee, strong, quick guy, handsome dude. I wish I could be like those guys. Can I be those guys? If I bust my ass, I could. Now, would I be just like them? No, I never will be them. But it inspires me.
Exactly. And I think what it's come down to is it's just everybody wants people to believe that these body types don't exist. It's unrealistic. But the truth of the matter is there's many types of body types out there. I mean, I've seen women that largely on a scale of Caucasian women that are atypical. You know, their body type is a tiny waist and a big old caboose, and that's not typical in a Caucasian woman. But I've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. Is it because it's not acceptable? No, it's because there's just not a lot of them. Just because there's not a lot of them doesn't mean it doesn't exist, and doesn't mean you can't have that person play a part. I mean,
yeah. And so
if that's the case, you need to take all the Jennifer Garner shit down that she ever did, because she had small waist, big booty.
Yeah, and
atypical white woman.
Yeah, this all goes back down to Samus. Somebody said like sexism in video games, and they brought up like, well, Samus, she's a very attractive woman, and she's been in video games for years. I'm like, yep, that's always a good point if you want to say it hasn't always been this way. Yeah, it has kind of been. Even when like some of the Belmont video games with the front of the case, you see this buff man holding a whip in his hand and about to whip somebody. And in front of the cases, you see this hulking dudes all ripped and jacked, and sometimes there'd be a girl in front of it. And of course, the funny ones I saw, there was one this pinball game, and all that in front of the case. It was E for everybody, but it was a pinball game. But in front of the case had a bunch of girls. This one time I was like, this is totally true. There's a bunch of girls in like almost bikinis holding guns and swords and stuff like that. I'm like, it's a pinball game. You didn't need that, but they knew it would help the game sell. Like,
what was it that you just said, sweetie? You called out a game. What did you say? Oh, there you go. Anybody that says that this shit hadn't been going on forever, go back and look at the first Tomb Raider.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that, chat. My cat stepped on my keyboard. Anyways, yeah, Tomb Raider has been going all the way back to there. Yeah, it's just a sell tactic. Promise, is it a sell tactic that we should be doing? Probably not. But does it help sales? Yes.
Yeah. Not gonna lie. I mean, if I pick up a game and it's got a nice looking lady on the front of it, I'm gonna read the back to see if it's the kind of gameplay I like.
Yeah, like stick with like for me again. Bring this back. It's like seeing the Halo case for me back in the '90s and not having Master Chief in front of it. Like the character he looked like a badass in big old armor and a suit and a gun holding his hand. Then I got the collector edition, just said Halo on it, but at that point I already knew what it was. It just sometimes it just helps with the sale. Stop. All right, so if y'all want to see more of our thoughts, it's kind of like a death battle scenario. We'll give our quick synopsis, and you can debate us and why you think it made otherwise. But if you like something like that, or maybe a full episode, please let us know down in the comments down below. Be sure to hit the like button. and I probably won't be streaming tonight because I actually been thinking about doing a video for a while, and I want to kind of get it done. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a new anime called not called. I'm gonna give you the exact name because I think you should try it out yourself. As anybody knows, I am not a person that likes drinking alcohol at all, but there's an anime called Bartender Glass of God. And it's about bartending in anime. And again, it's one of those weird things that I think I would never enjoy, and I'm loving it. You know, it's like, you know, farming, never get into it, never do it. Love show animes about farming. Now about bartending, and I wanna talk about, you know, the overwhelming things that you, even though you think you never will like anime, there's just bound to be one. There's nowadays there's just no way. I want to do that video on it. So
Yep.
I'll be working on it a little later on. Thank you for those who are in Kick. If anybody's still in Kick, you're very unique people, and I definitely tell you you're very much trolls, but I don't really care. I do appreciate you coming by. Those who are in my on Twitch as well. Oh, I did that a lot yesterday because because hearing myself in my headset messes my speech up sometimes. I was doing that a lot yesterday. Hearing my voice coming back to my head is just, I could not speak right. It was actually a lot of fun yesterday. I almost streamed I did stream for 6 hours. I streamed for 2 days already. All right, as always, you have a good day, have a good night, have a good life. Much love, y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.